Hey everyone, welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, a show in which we discuss movies both old and new. Today we have a new movie out in theaters as of recently, over President's Day weekend, which is a great way to hide your film.
Oh yeah, great timing.
Great timing. And what is that film title, Nathan? And who's the director?
It's Captain America, Brave New World, directed by Kevin Feige.
Does it even matter?
A group of producers.
A focus group.
I want to say his name is Julius something. Julian something. I don't know. I forget. I forgot to research it because I watched the movie and then I immediately wanted to forget that the movie happened. But we're getting too into it.
Yeah. So before we get into our thoughts on this movie, what is the movie about?
Yes, this is the fourth Captain America movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is still around. It is the fourth Captain America, but the first film starring the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, and it follows him and his exploits as the newest hero to undertake the title of Captain America. He is working with the President, played by Harrison Ford, and at a summit with all the world's nations, an assassination attempt is made on Harrison Ford as the President, and now Captain America must uncover this vast conspiracy to assassinate the president and start a big world war, and it's up to him and a small group of heroes to stop this from happening. Marvel is back, baby.
Phase 5 starts out with a bang.
Is that what this is? Is this Phase 5? What phase are we in?
I mean, that's what I looked up at the Wikipedia. I was like, I don't know what phase we're in, and then I looked at Captain America: Brave New World, and it's like, oh, we're entering Phase 5.
This is entering Phase 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you feel about this movie, Nathan?
I didn't like it. I was not having a good time with it. It really just it exhausted me. Watching it did, and then the thought of having to talk about it also exhausted me, because it's like I want nothing more than to sit in one of these Marvel movies and actually have a good time. That's all I want to. And so when I was like half falling asleep during the action in the middle portion of this movie, I was just like, God, this is so hard to get through. I just wish it were at least halfway decent, but it isn't even that. And so I was not having a good time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This is easily one of the most forgettable superhero movies in the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I want to give some praise to the movie. Harrison Ford is the best part of this entire movie.
Yeah.
But my praise stops and ends there.
Yeah. Harrison Ford is doing what Harrison Ford does best, and he's grumpy. He's the grumpy dwarf.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not bad. Good things I want to say. I guess no one in the movie is entirely awful. It's just that no one has a character to work with, and they don't have a story to really work with either. Everyone is trying. Anthony Mackie, he's not a horrible guy to lead your film. He's charismatic enough, but his character has nothing to him, and so it just feels like he's kind of just he's just on rails throughout the movie, just like, I've got to get to the next beat, to the next action scene before the movie ends.
Feed exposition for an hour and 58 minutes.
It is
because that's all this film is. It's just an exposition dump.
It is
for an hour and 58 minutes. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, build some character. Like, have some emotional scenes. Like, listen, like, it's a superhero movie, right? At least make the action scenes good.
And they're
really lackluster.
They're really boring to watch.
When they had that Pearl Harbor Michael Bay, which we will get into how this film is very similar to like a Michael Bay movie without the je ne sais quoi of a Michael Bay
without
movie.
the flash,
without the lens flares and what makes a Michael Bay movie fun and enjoyable. But when they had that Pearl Harbor scene, where they're trying to get that MacGuffin, it's rather uneventful, uninspiring, and not that fun to watch.
No, it isn't. It's really just them flying around in circles saying, we have to stop these fighter jets, and they just fly around in circles several times, and all I'm thinking in my head is, punch the jets! Do something! You guys are just flying around in circles like, oh my god, they're gonna hit the Japanese fleet! It's like, well then stop them, you idiot! You're the most under-equipped superheroes I've ever seen in my life. Do something!
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of issues with this movie. We'll get into it, but that's our praise for this movie.
Is that
Harrison Ford's great?
Yeah,
and then not much else.
not much else. It's like I wish I could say nice things about this movie because I don't want to hate it, but it's just so. At best, it's mediocre. At worst, it's kind of infuriating. It's the worst. It's the worst possible scenario for one of these Marvel movies where, on the one hand, it is just a constant, just like festival of references to like past material, and then on the other hand, it's also just a setup for what's down the line. And it's like, and it has nothing like in the moment. It's not living in the moment and telling its story. It is reminiscing about the past and then being like, hey, whoa, what's going to happen in the future? Did you stay for the end credits scene?
No, I left. When the Kendrick Lamar song was being played, the I Love Myself song, I was like, this is not the right Kendrick Lamar song to play. You know what's the right Kendrick Lamar song to play in this?
They Not Like Us?
No. It's that Alicia Keys song that he did with her at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because that's the feeling that I had while watching the end of this movie. I'm like, I just sat through one of the most infuriating movies in a long time. And by the end of the movie, not only was I very like hopeless about the future of like Captain America, but of Marvel in general, because I saw two trailers. We saw two trailers before the start of the movie. The Fantastic Four trailer.
Yeah.
And the Yellow Jackets trailer.
Thunderbolts.
Trailer.
Is what they are.
Thunderbolts looks like a tragedy in the making.
Thunderbolts looks generic.
Absolutely god-awful. And then before then we saw the Fantastic Four trailer. And I really love Fantastic Four. It's like definitely like the series that I grew up on for superheroes. It's like Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. Those were the two superheroes that I was really fixated on in my childhood. And then I see that on screen, and I was like, just give us the 2000s films again. Just give us the 2000s Fantastic Four films. If it's going to be this like horrendously looking, with horrendous CGI and no practical effects whatsoever, why have a Fantastic Four movie? It's like, why even bother having these Marvel movies if they're going to be horrendous on a technical level?
Yeah, it's I saw those two trailers, and it's like we've gotten to a point of like diminishing returns with these movies, because Thunderbolts, on the one hand, looks like, you know what, maybe this could be fun, but at the same time, they're in the trailer, they're using like the worst jokes. They're doing the classic like, whoa, your superhero name is pretty lame.
They're trying to do Suicide Squad.
When David Harbour is like, I am the Red Guardian, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like, the what? It's like, haha, laugh, because isn't this stupid? I'm like, yeah, it's stupid, but I'm not laughing. And then
you're not just rehashing jokes from Suicide Squad of 2016.
Yeah. Oh, gee. How can you get worse than Suicide Squad 2016? And that Fantastic Four trailer, it seems like that's going to be the make or break for this studio at this point, because this was a dud. Thunderbolts doesn't look like it's going to be anything special, and so a lot is riding on this Fantastic Four movie, because the 2000s movies, as much like nostalgia I have for them, and I still kind of enjoy them, they're not terrific.
Of course not.
And so like this seems like their one opportunity to not only bring those characters back, but to, you know, bring themselves back from the brink. And if this movie that we just saw, Captain America, is any indicator, it just seems that they're up to their same old tricks again.
Yeah. And I think we're going hard on this movie because we see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And we see it quite early. Obviously, like, we've known for the past 2-3 years that these movies have been quite tanking after Endgame.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really been set in stone on the big screen like this movie, where you see the potential for, like, a good movie. And then you essentially see what is a rehash of The Winter Soldier, but done in a less elegant way.
But yeah, no, that's what I was thinking this entire movie, is that this is The Winter Soldier, but so much worse in every single way. It is hitting that movie's same beats of Captain America feels a little out of place in this quote-unquote brave new world, and there's a conspiracy, and he needs a small little team to, get together and stop the bad guy conspiracy. But the movie, it wants to be a political thriller, but it is neither thrilling nor has anything to really say, because whenever an ideological conversation comes up in the movie then quickly backpedals, and its only thing it has to say is, well, wouldn't it be nice if we all just got along? Mr. Harrison Ford, I know you're a blood-hungry psychopath, but you know what? I know deep down you're just a little grumpy.
Yeah. What if we just played We Are the World and we all just got along and sang Kumbaya songs to one another?
That's the extent of where the movie goes. But we're
Hey,
I feel like we're getting really into the weeds with it right now.
All right, I think we're well into spoilers.
Yeah, we're well into spoilers.
So we'll give a spoiler alert.
Nothing's to really spoil.
Yeah.
There's nothing to spoil.
One of the most depressing things about this movie was the villain.
Yeah,
because
Tim Blake Nelson.
He's good. He's a good actor.
He's a fantastic actor. I love him.
Tim Blake Nelson is good. But there's this like huge like kind of. By the way, we're into spoilers. Yeah. They break into like this security sort of like government facility in Ohio.
The prison. Yeah.
They just go through a fence.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They just cut a hole in a fence, and they're just like, we're here.
It's like so like Looney Tunes. Like
we're here. Oh, if you want to talk about Looney Tunes, the opening of this movie, I was holding in my laughter because it's Captain America has to go fight these terrorists, and it's Giancarlo Esposito, who is in the movie, by the way. I keep forgetting he's in the movie, but it doesn't matter because he's just doing what Giancarlo Esposito gets paid to do, which is to just be villain. And he's there, and he's like holding a group of nuns hostage, and it was the silliest shit I'd ever seen. It felt, so many scenes in this movie felt like a joke.
Yeah.
They felt like a joke out of like Deadpool and Wolverine when that movie made fun of Marvel movies. It just like felt straight out of that. It felt like I was watching an episode of The Boys, where it's just like, this is not real. Giancarlo Esposito was like, Padre, I will take your nuns and I will shoot them all one at a time. I'm just like, is this... Where's Ashton Kutcher? Where's the hidden camera?
Where's the you got punked?
This is so silly, but not in like a fun comic booky way. In like a this is tonally so strange kind of way.
Like when you watch like Wonder Woman 1984, obviously there are issues with that film, but there's that one scene where they're at that mall, and it's quite fun.
It's goofy,
campy, but it serves a purpose, and it sends the film in the right direction. Even though the film ends up going completely sideways, at least there's that scene that makes you feel like, okay, now we're in the presence of like a superhero.
Yeah.
We understand the tone of the movie. That opening scene completely messed up the entire tone of this movie.
Yeah, it felt so silly, but does not want you to take it. Wants you to take it seriously, but is playing it. It's a weird, paradoxical kind of situation with kind of all the Marvel movies when they're at their worst, when they are not embracing the fact that they are comic book superhero movies, when they're trying to be like, no, take us seriously. What, your name is Ant-Man? Whoa, what? That's a lame name. It's like, don't do that. Don't take your audience out of the experience. They want to be here. Everyone wants to be here and wants to watch this. So play it straight and have fun. They do the dumb undercutting of an emotional moment when
corny joke,
when Bucky shows up and gives Captain America a little speech like, you're what people aspire to be, and I'm just like, oh, are we about to have like a nice like character moment? And he's just like, who wrote that speech for you? Wink.
I know.
Like,
and I felt
yay.
And I felt like if they took it seriously, that should have been the ending scene of the movie, where they're at that ER and Sam Wilson realizes that he's no longer the Falcon. He's Captain America, and he has his own job and his own mission. He's going to have friends of his who are going to be hurt, but that's what comes with the role of being Captain America. That's where the film should have ended. But instead we have 20, 30 minutes of extra like filler.
Well, that was the reshoots.
Really?
That entire third act felt so reshot because you see how bad the green screen and effects are.
Oh, so bad. I showed you that picture.
Yeah, no, and then I saw it in the movie, and I was like, oh, that's so much worse than I thought it would be. And that entire climax is him just saying to Harrison Ford, listen, I know you've committed several illegal crimes and have done many things that are very unethical and immoral, but you know what?
You have a daughter.
You have a daughter that loves you. I know you're trying to be a nicer man, Mr. President, even though you just tried to start World War III with the Japanese. I know deep, 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 deep down, you're just a sad old man who loves his daughter.
Touch this cherry orchard tree. You'll get back to normal.
Look at the cherry blossoms. It felt like, I swear to God, they should have set that up as like a Snickers commercial where he's like, you know what, Mr. President, you're not you when you're hungry. Have a Snickers. And he's like, you're right, Captain America. I was just hungry. I guess I won't start World War III with the Japanese for all these minerals.
Yeah, that entire third act just kept on going, and I was like, Stop, you're ruining everything. I mean, the movie was already ruined as it was, but it could have been a mediocre film if they just cut out all the Rolk stuff, all that out of the movie.
And the thing that is so ironic is that the movie is selling itself on, you want to see Captain America fight the Red Hulk? You guys want to see this? But it was
like less than 7 minutes.
It was such a short fight. And that's what the entire movie is being sold on. But at the same time, the movie is under the thought that like it's a big mystery. That it's like, because the whole conspiracy is Tim Blake Nelson wants to poison Harrison Ford and turn him into Red Hulk, and it's not revealed until like the beginning of the third act where it's like, Mr. President, your heart medication, it's filled with gamma radiation. It's supposed to be a big reveal, but it's like, well, we know this.
Yeah.
Because it's on the poster.
Yeah.
No one told the 6 writers who wrote this movie that we're going to tell people Red Hulk's in it already, because it feels like it was supposed to be a big reveal.
Yeah.
And then he shows up, fights for 4 minutes, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
It's so baffling. I'm befuddled.
When I walked out of the theater, it felt like when I walked out of the theater for The Last Jedi, where it's just like, I don't know where they're going to go from here, but I don't care either way.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier that I watched everything I thought you would need to watch to understand this movie, because it references Incredible Hulk, the Falcon Disney show, and then The Eternals. I've seen all those things. And then I watched this movie, and there's just so many blind spots in my brain of, who is this? Why is this happening? Where are we, like, in this world anymore exactly? We've been on this Marvel journey for so long. I don't understand the world or the rules to it. Harrison Ford is like, I want you to rebuild the Avengers. I'm like, when did the Avengers break up? I'm going through my brain just like, what happened in the 42 other movies before this that will help me to understand what's happening? And I had nothing, when they bring up that they're looking for adamantium, that's the big thing. Harrison Ford is like, we need adamantium, and we're gonna give it to all our allies. Blah blah blah. Adamantium. That brings in the X-Men. You'd think you're sitting in the seat. You're just like, wow, I can't wait to see the X-Men. I got mad.
Yeah.
I sat there thinking, don't you dare rope the X-Men into this nonsense. You leave Wolverine out of your
Yeah, you leave Cyclops and Storm out of your BS.
You leave them alone. They don't want none of this smoke. It was just baffling. Did you want to talk about the Michael Bay comparisons of the movie?
Yeah, so we were discussing off air before we decided to record because I had some issues with the GarageBand, so we had some time to discuss the movie beforehand. But I told Nathan that like this film reminds me of like a bad Michael Bay movie. I'm not saying like 1 or 2, because at least with 2, even though it's a really bad film, Revenge of the Fallen, at least it's fun to watch because you can kind of understand, like, oh, there were no writers at that time, so they had to do...
Oh, yeah, that was the writer's strike.
Yeah. So they had to, like, come up with, like, a film, and they came up with that, and while it did stink, at least it was fun to watch. This felt like a Age of Extinction, where you had the Michael Bayisms in this movie, like reverence to the military, glam shots of the military. There was no glam shots of the female woman in this film, which is we miss.
That's hey, we're progressive. Yeah. In one sense. Progress, yay!
But it's like if you like squeezed out all the things that make a Michael Bay movie, which is like entertaining.
Schlocky action fun,
right, with a lot of lens flares.
Yeah,
this was devoid of anything that made a Michael Bay movie. It felt like if you just focus tested or group tested a Michael Bay movie to just make this movie what that would be.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. You know, because at points I was just like, okay, like there's the option or there's the ability for this to be like entertaining and fun. Like the action, like I really wanted to see like good action scenes in this film.
Yeah,
it just wasn't there.
There aren't
none.
Like even
that Pearl Harbor thing. It reminded me of Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. I did fall asleep for a little bit during that fight. The big Pearl Harbor thing. It was just them flying around with the planes. I close my eyes, and when I wake up, Captain America's sidekick is getting shot down. I'm like, did I miss anything important right now?
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
I do want to spend some time on the big reveal of Tim Blake Nelson as the villain.
Yeah.
They're at that little facility in Ohio, and he's in the shadows. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be scary. Like this, I'm not scared. And I know it's within the realm of the MCU, so it's PG-13, Disney friendly. But it's Disney friendly scary, right? It's going to be like,
I guess,
like, okay, like this is going to be like a jaw-dropping scene that really puts things in motion, and then you see the villain, and it's Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Yeah. He looks weird. I don't like his design. It's awkward because it's just Tim Blake Nelson with kind of green skin and then a bunch of pimples on his head.
Yeah, let's copy the Riddler but make it less fun.
It's just really, really gross. It's just a gross, lame, boring design. And I'm not one of the people that's like, well, they should have kept the design from the comic book. But in the comic book, that character straight up has a Megamind-sized head and is just like green. Just like a vibrant green. And it's just like, why not do that? Because that's a fun visual. But instead, you just put some pustules on his head. You're just like, Tim, you're go. Action. It's just so lame. It was making me think of like, I feel like we've come back around to like the like MCU Marvel days.
Yeah.
Where just everything is kind of just like they're like loosely picking stuff up from the comics and just smashing it into a movie without much thought, and then they're watering it down because it's like it can't be too silly or fun. Then no one would take us seriously.
Yeah, it's entering into like the Catwoman, Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Punisher era of comic book movies.
Those early 2000s movies which is just, it's so weird to think like we're kind of back to that now.
Which I think that's good in the long run, because now we're able to watch, now the general audience, not us, but the general audience is able to watch films that aren't superhero movies. So I think that's good in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, in terms of this particular genre, it's the death blow to it.
Yeah, right now they're just circling what they've been doing for so long, but then when you take a step back, you see that they're circling a toilet drain. And yeah, no, when July comes along, that's going to be kind of the make or break for these movies when the Fantastic Four comes out, because it's either you're going to take a step up, you're going to try to make something good, or you're just going to fall to the same mistakes you've been making. And then that's just what people have to look forward to.
But I will say this, I'm not hopeful for it. I don't think it's going to be a good movie. I want it to be a good movie.
I would also like it to be a good... Nothing would make me happier than to sit in a theater and enjoy Thunderbolts. I would like it if that happened. That'd be a nice thing if I could sit down and say, wow, that was fun and I had a good time. But I'm not sure if that's going to be what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to be able to sit in a theater and watch a good Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one thing I've never been able to experience in life. And
sad.
This summer will make or break that.
I've never gotten to experience a good Fantastic Four
When I
movie.
saw Guardians of the Galaxy get
sad.
like good press from that movie, deservedly so, I was like, this is just Fantastic Four erasure. They're just erasing all the goodwill that Fantastic Four has had through the comics and through those characters. I was just like, no.
And it's like, this stuff should be easy, but it's all just like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. This movie had, I was watching the credits because I did watch the after credits scene. This movie had like 6 different writers, and I felt sick to my stomach. I was gonna puke in my seat. Like, 6 people signed off on this and said, yeah, this is the best we're gonna get. This is the best we're gonna get. Can I tell you about that after credits scene?
Yeah, because I didn't stay around for it.
Yeah, it's another multiverse setup.
That's what I saw. We're
still doing this.
It reminded me of that scene of that guy that was walking through Oscorp.
Oh,
with all those
Amazing Spider-Man 2, where it's just like, oh look, it's a Vulture.
Yeah, look at all these movies that we'll butcher if we ever
look
got
at
our
all
hands on
this.
them.
Look at what we've got. Kraven the Hunter. You want to see that? But no, it's just Tim Blake Nelson. He's like, you think I'm the threat, but there's a bigger threat coming. Many worlds are coming, and then dun dun dun. It's like Deadpool and Wolverine made this a joke.
Yeah,
this was a joke. They literally said, multiverse stuff, stop it. It's not good anymore. And now they're doubling down, just like, aren't you guys excited? We're gonna multiverse. Robert Downey Jr.'s back.
as Doctor Doom.
As Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
I'm not excited, dude.
I feel like
my energy level has just dropped.
We've gotten more depressed as we've talked about this.
And for good reason, because it started off strong. Obviously, we knew that this run couldn't continue forever.
Are you saying the movies started off strong, or the
run of MCU
these comic
movies?
book movies?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, you saw Iron Man. That was a pretty good movie. Obviously, Hulk, not so great. But you saw Thor. You saw the Captain America trilogy. It wrapped up well with, Infinity War and Endgame. And we're like, okay, well, now this is a new chapter. This is now the next chapter in MCU. And you just see dud after dud after dud, and then you see Deadpool and Wolverine, which makes fun of all those duds, and then you go back to a dud.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are we doing here, and why should I care, and why should I be involved or invested in this story now?
I was thinking while watching this, like, this should have been, like, because it had so many reshoots trying to get this to work. It should have been a Netflix movie. A Disney Plus original. Yeah. Brave of them to throw a Disney Plus original in the theaters, but I'm thinking, like, you know what would have been a great idea with this movie? Make it kind of like a light reset for this universe, Just pull back. Like, no one can keep up with all your Disney Plus originals. No one can keep up with all the movies that have come out after Endgame. So you know what? A light reset. We're not going to reference anything that's happened in the past. Just have a nice, solid story in the here and now with Captain America, and let people become reintroduced to your world, because I cannot imagine anyone being just like, oh, you know what? I'd like to get into those Marvel movies now. And then watching this and then watching their brains just like fall out of their ears because it's just so much information coming at you. And even after watching what I thought you should watch to understand this movie, I understand nothing. It's so convoluted. Characters show up that I've never seen before, but apparently have some kind of significance. Like Captain America has like a friend on the Secret Service, and he's got friends in the army. And I'm like, who are you people? Where did you come from? What is the Serpent Society? Why is Giancarlo Esposito here? He's like 60 years old, and Captain America drop kicks him into a truck. That wasn't heroic. That was elder abuse.
Yeah. Anyways, let's put the bow on this movie. Let's wrap up our thoughts.
Captain America 4 Brave New World. It is an exhausting watch. It is exhausting if you're coming into this franchise for the first time. It's exhausting if you've been here the whole time, because it's kind of just, once again, they're trying to play their greatest hits, but they're playing it on a record player that has been broken for the past 10 years. There's no cohesion to the story. Characters don't really have arcs to say. The action isn't fun. It's just all kind of a mess, a tiring mess. And that's really all I can say. I'm just sad.
Yeah, this was one of the most depressing movie theater experiences I've ever had. And it's not necessarily about the movie. It's because I went to the movie theater at 9 a.m. on Saturday, opening weekend.
Oh my God.
And there were less than 9 people. There were more people at Folie à Deux than in this movie. And I watch, and I see 2 lackluster trailers for 2 properties that I thought had a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
You sit at the theater for nearly 2 hours, and you come away with it feeling sad.
Yeah.
Feeling hopeless. Knowing that the best years are behind,
mm-hmm.
and that we'll have years of mediocrity to come.
Yeah.
And I think that's
a very good way of putting it.
I think that's the way that should be said about this movie, is that this is not one of the worst superhero movies of all time.
No.
But it's one of the most forgettable movies of all time.
Yeah, which you could argue is worse than a movie just being bad, a movie being just so lackluster and forgettable. Like, it's just a bunch of hot air being blown at you, which is probably more insulting to your brain.
And by the way, like, we're not Marvel haters or Marvel lovers. We're kind of impartial. Like, we're partial. We try and watch movies with an open mind. If you want to go through the Rolodex of other reviews, most of our discussions are not superhero centric.
No,
we just like good movies. We're a movie discussion. We're movie entertainment personalities.
We are movie entertainment personalities, Ajay and Nathan, reviewing slop.
Yeah, we're reviewing slop. But we're just people that like to watch good movies, and we'll call a spade and say a movie is good and whether a movie's bad. And this is a movie that we kind of feel indifferent about, and we kind of look at the potential and realize that they're going to squander it.
Yeah, no, I would, and again, I've said it several times in this review, I would love to sit in one of these movies and have a good time and enjoy myself, because I have in the past with some of the Marvel movies. At pre-Endgame, like, you know,
we watch Furiosa. We love Furiosa.
Why are we talking about Fury? Don't bring Furiosa into this. You leave my sweet baby Furiosa out of this.
In terms of movies that like were action-packed and fun and adventurous and just pure fun, that's a movie that was fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it is. And like, I've seen Marvel movies that have also been like that. I love the Guardians movies.
Civil War was fun to watch.
Civil War's really fun. Winter Soldier is this movie, but better in every single way. It's a legitimately well-made film, and that's what Marvel is at
Thor
their best.
Ragnarok was pretty fun.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. At their best, they are legitimate, well-made films that rise above the more generic, mediocre ones of their class. And at worst, they're this. They're forgettable and just kind of nothing at the end of the day. We need to stop talking about this movie before I buy a rope. I got nothing left. There's nothing left in this tank.
Yeah, there's nothing left for us. If you haven't watched it already, hopefully we didn't spoil too much.
Did we even talk about the movie? I already forget what our conversation has been. We've been talking for sub 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I forget what we've said.
Yeah, our brains are fried.
Fried.
But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.
There are better movies out there.
You can still see Companion.
Still watch Last Showgirl.
Sure, yeah, Pam Anderson.
Baby Girl.
That's still out.
Complete Unknown.
Better Man,
if you want. Other films. Most of those films we discuss on this channel. So go watch our other videos because, we need it. We need the help. We need all the help we can get. But anyways, that's our anticlimactic ending for this film. Just like the film.
Much like the movie, yeah.
Anyways, guys, that's it for us. We don't know what movie we'll discuss next week.
The Monkey.
Oz
Perkins, the Monkey.
We're excited for that.
It should be fun.
All right. See you. Bye.